boys and girls? Our next special visitor today, the county executive. Before we get started, does anybody know what the county executive does? What is the overall function? Tell me, Taryn.
He's kind of like the governor, except he's like the governor of Annapolis County.
There you go. He's the county. So this is Mr. Schuh, and we welcome him to Annapolis. So the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Madam. It's so nice to see all of you. How are things going in school this year? Good. Yeah, ready for summer? Yes. It's almost here. So my name is Mr. Schuh. It's kind of a funny name, isn't it? Is that a funny name? So? All right. A lot of kids think it's funny. Anyway, as your principal said, I'm the county executive here of Anne Arundel County. Now, you've probably been studying a little bit about government, how government in our country is organized. What are the three branches of government? Yes, sir.
Legislative.
Legislative's one. What's the second one? Yes, ma'am.
Democracy?
Nope.
No. Consecutive.
Legislative's one.
Consecutive?
Executive. And then there's a third. Yes, ma'am.
Concord?
Nope. That's the legislative. That's Congress is the legislative branch. One more. We gotta let somebody. Okay, that's it. What is it?
Judicial.
Judicial.
Yes,
Okay, so there's three branches of government: the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. What is the judicial branch? Who are the people? What do you call the people in the judicial branch? Who are we talking about when we say judicial? Who are we talking about? Yes, sir.
Judge?
Judges. Right. So when somebody gets in trouble or has a dispute with a neighbor or a problem in business, they have to go to court, and the court is run by a judge. And sometimes for certain types of cases, the judge hears the case, hears the trial with a group of citizens called a jury, right? So that's the judicial branch. The legislative branch, we have several different legislative branches in our country. There's our national government in Washington, and the name of that legislature is what, young lady? Congress. Here in Maryland, we call it the General Assembly, but it's like a little Congress. And even in Anne Arundel County and in the city of Annapolis, there are little teeny legislatures. In the county, it's called the County Council, and in the city of Annapolis, it's called the City Council. And then you have the third branch, the executive branch. I'm part of that. Now, who is the most tippy-top executive branch person in the United States? Somebody who hasn't spoken yet. Yes, sir.
Mayor?
The tippy-top of the whole country. Yes, sir. The President of the United States. Now, who's the president? Is it still Ronald Reagan? Is it George Washington? Abraham Lincoln, maybe? Who is it?
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump is currently president of the United States. Who is the next down in the ladder is the governor, or governors of all the 50 states. Who's the governor of the state of Maryland? Governor Hogan. I think he's coming to visit your school very soon. He's here already? Oh, he was here already? Well, now you know Governor Hogan. And then below Governor Hogan are the county executives of the various counties. Who's the county executive of Anne Arundel County?
Yeah.
That's it. You got it. So that's how it works. That's how our government works. Legislative, executive, and judicial branches of government. That's really important. Really, really important. The people who devised that, the framers of our Constitution, understood that for us to be a free people, for us to enjoy the freedom we have in our country, we're freer than any other country on earth. We had to separate power, spread power around. If too much power gets in the hands of a president, that person could turn into a what? A tyrant or a dictator. If too much power gets in the hands of a legislature, of a Congress, you can have immense problems. Nothing will even happen in countries that have legislatures that are out of control. And there have been countries over the years where the judges have become too powerful and they start to take over the country. That actually happened to ancient Israel. Judges took over their whole country. So we have a system where power is spread out among those three branches, and that's part of what keeps us free. Super important. Now, how did I get to be county executive? I've had a lot of different jobs in my lifetime. I'm kind of old, a little older than you guys. And over the years, my first job was in banking. I was a banker. I worked for a bank. I learned a lot there. Later, I went into the golf business with my father. Then I went into the fitness center business with a business partner. And most recently, I've been in the restaurant business. I'm in business with some partners, and we develop and operate restaurants all around Maryland and Virginia. A lot of fun. I've enjoyed all of those careers. Now, what do you think is the main reason that I've been able to do so many different things? What do you think? Yes?
Because you went to college?
Well, I went to college, but the main point is I worked really hard in school and I got a good education. Not everybody's going to go to college. I hope everybody does. If you can go to college, that's awesome, but college isn't for everybody. Some people prefer to go into a trade, or they prefer to go into business for themselves, and other people prefer to go to college. But what's important at your age, elementary school, middle school, and high school, is that every one of you work as hard as you can, do your schoolwork, do your homework, turn it in, take it seriously. And once you have that high school degree, a lot of opportunity will be available to you in your life. And if you go on to college, and maybe I would guess a lot of you will. How many of you want to go to college? Oh, awesome. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. Well, I hope you all pull it off. And if you work hard in high school, you will be able to go to college. And don't let anybody ever tell you that you can't go to college. Don't let them say that you're not smart enough. Don't let them say there's not enough money. Don't let them say anything. Because there's always a way. If you want to go to college, you can go to college. It might be hard. You might have to have a job while you're going to college, but you can do it. And we have one of the best community colleges in the whole country right here in Anne Arundel County. What's it called? Yes, sir. That's right, Anne Arundel Community College. We are so proud of Anne Arundel Community College. And maybe some of you will go there one day. It's a wonderful school. And if you get a good education, take your work seriously, you will be successful in your life over the long run, and you'll be able to do lots of different jobs, or maybe be very, very accomplished at one job that you really love. I've enjoyed all of my different jobs in my life, and I love my job as county executive. This has been really, really fun. It's a lot of work. Whew, a lot of work. Yes, young lady?
Do you only get to be county executive like once, like serve 2 terms like the president?
Certain number of times? Yes, I ran for election, stood for election, and was elected 2 years ago. And it's a 4-year term, and I'm allowed to serve 2 4-year terms. So what's that come to?
8 years.
That's the most I can serve. After 8 years, I have to leave the office. And that kind of goes back to what I was talking about earlier. One of the things that we've done in our country, in most cases with the president, with governors, and even with county executives, we usually limit the amount of time they can serve. Why do we do that?
So other people can get a chance, and we don't have to do like one person at a time. So other people can get a chance to do it.
Exactly right. That way other people get a chance, and that way not too much power accumulates in the hands of any one person. Yes?
Isn't it also like the person who gets elected, not everyone likes? Like there's going to be someone that wants somebody else, so they have to make it.
Oh yeah, I mean most elections usually end up fairly close. My election was about 56% to 44%, or 55-45, somewhere in there. So it was just a 10% difference between the people that wanted me and the people that wanted my opponent. As you may know, President Trump won by just a teeny-weeny bit. And that happens, very often. But one of the things that's great about our country and our state and our county is after elections are over, we all pull together as one people and we get behind the winner of our elections and we support them until the next election, and then we vote again for the person that we want at that time. But we always remember, we're in this together. Once the election's over, we don't keep fighting elections. We don't keep fighting the campaign. When the election's over, it's over, and it's our job, people like me, the elected officials, to do the work of the people, and it's the job of the people to work with us and help us get your business accomplished. Yes, ma'am?
So, I just had this question that you're talking about, right? Well, can somebody keep, so let's say when you ran, can there be more than another person running against you?
The question is, can there be more than one person running against me? The answer is yes. Lots of people can run. Now, in the case of President of the United States, when you're a little bit older and you go to vote, when you're 18, you'll look at the ballot and you'll see that there are probably 6 or 8 people running for president every year. Now, you only hear about 2 of them. Which 2 do you hear about? Yes?
Like the winner of the Democratic race and the winner of the Republican.
Yes, you hear about the Republican and the Democrat. And that's because our country is generally organized as a 2-party system. And there are a lot of reasons for that. It's not a requirement. It's not a legal requirement that there only be 2 parties. But as a practical matter, because of the way the Constitution is structured, it tends to drive people into one of those 2 parties. Some people remain independent of parties. Other people join small parties like the Green Party, the Constitutional Party, the Libertarian Party. There are lots of parties, but they're all very, very small compared to the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. So it is almost impossible for anybody to win the United States presidency who is not a Republican or a Democrat. And in the case of the United States Congress, for example, the United States Senate, of all the senators, there's only one who's not a Republican or an independent. He's a Republican or a Democrat. He's an independent. What is his name? You've heard of him. You answered too many questions. We gotta give some answers. Yes, sir.
I don't know.
Are you? Oh, she's just stretching. Anybody have a guess? Yes. Nope. That's a good guess, though. Yes.
Bob Joe?
No, you're close, though. It begins with a B. Bernie Sanders. It's Bernie Sanders. He's a senator from Vermont, and he's the only person in the United States Senate that's not a Republican and not a Democrat. Only one. That's a great question.
Mr. Schuh, our students prepared some really nice questions for you too. They've been learning a lot about you. So
Great.
if you have a prepared question that you've worked on, raise your hand, Mr. Schuh.
Yes.
As county executive, have you had to travel a lot or stay, or do you only have to stay in the Greenville County?
Okay, the question is, do I travel a lot in my job as county executive? Not very much. My job is to manage Anne Arundel County, so most of my duties call for me to stay right here. Now, a couple times a year I have to go to conferences out of the county. Sometimes I go to speaking events in Baltimore City. I had to go to an event in Washington, D.C. So maybe 10 or 20 times a year I have to leave Anne Arundel County, but most of the year I stay right here. Yes, sir.
What were some of your hobbies and interests when you were our age?
When I was your age, I played baseball, soccer, golf. I loved riding my bike. I used to go to the pool every day during the summer. Those are my main hobbies. In fact, I still like doing most of those things today.
Golf.
Except golf. I don't like golf. Yes.
Was being county executive always your dream, or is it like a start to your dream?
One more time.
Was being county executive always your dream, or is it like a start to your dream?
No, being county executive was never a dream of mine. When I was in business, I loved being in business, and I pursued it very aggressively and worked really, really hard. And I reached a point in my life where I decided maybe I could go into public service and get out of business and go into more of a public service sort of profession. And my initial idea actually was to go into the education field. And so when I was much later in life, I went back to school and got a degree in education with the idea of going into the education field. That didn't end up working out, although I learned a lot. But while I was pursuing that idea of education, an opportunity became available to become a member of the Maryland State Legislature, the Maryland General Assembly. So I became a delegate at the state level, not county, at the state, in the legislature in Annapolis. And I served there for 8 years, and then I realized that as a businessman, I would probably be able to get more accomplished in the executive branch as county executive than I could as a member of the legislature. Because the executive branch, county executive, governor, president, those types of positions are much more like running a business than being in a legislature, whether it's Congress, the General Assembly, or even the City Council here in Annapolis. They're very different roles, and I'm probably better at being in the executive branch. You're going to have wonderful lives, but there's one thing that will screw it up for you, and will ruin your life. What is it? What will ruin your life?
Having good education.
Nope.
Self-doubt. Self-doubt.
No, self-doubt will hold you back. It won't ruin your life.
Bad grades.
No, they won't ruin your life either. They'll slow you down, make it harder. Yes? Dropping out of school will really screw you up, but this is what I'm talking about is way worse than dropping out of school. What I'm talking about is the worst thing you can do. The worst thing you can do. Taking. Who said drugs?
Me.
Taking drugs. Do not listen to me, guys. If you never remember anything I've said today, other than one thing, remember this: don't take drugs, ever. Not once. Don't try it. Don't get near it. If somebody offers you drugs, just say no, thank you, not for me, and get away from that person. That's one way you have a very bright future. But drugs will ruin everything. Don't do it. And with that, I'm going to let you get back to your day. And yes, sir.
What charities are you involved in and what do they do?
Oh, good question. I love being involved with charities. I work on a volunteer basis with the United Way here in Central Maryland. I also work with the Baltimore Symphony Orchestra because I enjoy music, and I volunteer for a couple other organizations too. But those are my favorites. Yes.
So do you know Mr. Valerio?
Yes, I do.
He's a band teacher.
Oh yeah? Oh, that's wonderful.
So,
That's
Mr.
wonderful.
Schuh, we really appreciate your time out
Oh,
of your
thank
day.
you.
I know you have a
Appreciate
busy schedule, but
Thank
we
you for
have a
having me.
gift for you,
Thank you, buddy.
and we would love for
Thank
you
you.
to open it up so you can see the part of
Okay.
Annapolis on the future you're going to get.
Oh wow. Oh, that's awesome.
It's personalized for you.
Wow, that's wonderful. Thank you, guys. It says County Executive. Wow, that's wonderful. Look at that, personalized. Thank you, guys. Have a great day, everybody.
Alrighty. Thank you.